In this video, we will go over grouping and sorting within the table. So here we have a data set, a basic data set with a little bit of data. We have two columns with data that we could group by type and category. So we use those two columns to do some grouping, and we'll also do grouping by dates using start date column. So we could just take our data set and drop it in, and we'll select all of the tables. And for grouping, you want to go down to your table property editor, and under the tabs, you will go to groups, and you will click add to add a group. Now the first thing we're going to group by is category, and this drop down represents the columns of your data set, and here this will be the name that will show up on the table when you add the group. So let's call it category group. And so here you can set the direction of your group sorting, and you can add some page break functionality. And for interval, this is for dates, which we'll go over later. You have bookmarks if you're going to add a bookmark within your report, table of contents if you have a table of contents for your report, and there's some more filters and sorting at the bottom. So for now, we're just going to group by category with no interval and click OK. And our group will show up down here in the group list. And back in our table, we have our group category showing up here. So we'll run this to see what it looks like. But first, let's add a little bit of background color so that you could see the group, and we'll bold this text. So now we'll run the report. And our results that we get back, you can see now that we have groups by category. So you have customer, then the detailed data, and then no discount, detailed data, and then reseller and the detailed data. And you can see it's by this category column up here. So that's a basic group, and let's go back to our table and add another group. So we first group by category, and let's add type as another group. So we'll call it type group, and then you will pick type as the column, and that's it. Click OK. And now we have our type back in the report. So we'll do again some shading so that we can see the difference between the groups. And let's run this. So now our data is grouped even further. First we have category, and now we have each type, and there's not a lot of data, so it's coming back one column pretty much each, except when you get down here to reseller, you can see discontinued product has two types within that category. Now we go back here for groups. The group list is in order, so you could actually switch the order of the groups. So let's say you want to have the type come before a category, you could simply go over to the right and move it up. And now you see type and category have now switched. So now will be first grouping by type, then subgroup will be category. Now let's run that report. And now you see first we're grouping by type and then by category. So now there's a lot more separations in the data since we're grouping by type. And since there's fewer categories than types, now there's only about 2 subgroups in each separation for type. Whereas in category, you had a bunch of types for each category. So depending on how you want to group your data, you could change which category is the parent group and which category is the child group. And you can add as many groups as you want. And so that was it for grouping text. Now let's group by dates. So we're going to remove our 2 groups and we're going to add a date group. So we're going to use start date. And first, let's just look at start date without making any changes. We'll add a background color. And so right here, we're just getting the raw date here. But we want to change that. So we have a couple of choices here for interval, for date. And let's look first. We could do by year. And we can also pick a range of years. If you had data for decades, you could split them up into ranges of 5 or so. And click OK. Oops. So we missed the change here. Let's go back. And so we need to format the date so we can see our change. Let's run that again. Okay, so now you will see that we have the year showing up. The years are showing up. So let's group that even further. Let's add another subgroup. We can even use the same start date. And our interval will be by month. Click OK. So we can go back and name this one year. So we have year and date month. And we'll format our date month group. And again, we need to format the date so it will show correctly. And for month, our code is all capital M's, and let's run that. So now we are getting by year and then by month. So 2011, 2012, we have April and May. 2013, we have May and July. 2014, just March. Now let's go and do some sorting on our groups. So now let's sort them one by one. So let's sort year. We want to do descending. We want to see the most recent year to the oldest year. So now we start from 2014 and go to 2011. But as you can see, the months are still ascending. So each group you can sort individually, but let's go back and also sort the month, and we can sort that descending. And let's run that. And now you see everything is truly descending in time order. Year descending and month descending. So that's how you can group and sort on the tables in BIRT. Also, we show intervals with time and how to do nested groups. And also, we could just sort the detailed here in the group. You can see that's still ascending. For that, you could just go into your table and under the sorting tab, add a sort, start date, and descending. And let's run that. And now your detailed data will also be descending. And now you're able to sort your groups and your detailed data.